Only one interview for today, and that interview is with Dominate because Team Liquid just beat CLG and quite the stomp. 3 games in the best of 5, just completely aced them. Dominate, what was going on? Because I feel like a lot of people, like, what was going on from your perspective? Because I feel like so many people going into this match were like, oh, CLG's had a great split. Team Liquid has not been having that great of a split, barely made it into the 6th place. And then there's always a lot of conversation around, like, well, yeah, but when these guys meet up in the past, like, Team Liquid usually gives them a pretty big run for their money, sometimes comes out, or curse at least. So what was, like, the general atmosphere of the team going into this match?
I'd say we had like a pretty positive atmosphere. I mean, we almost didn't make playoffs, so when we made playoffs, it was like, okay, it's kind of like a nothing to lose mentality, which is always like better for us and like super pressure. When there's always like a lot of focus on us, we haven't done that well because we weren't that comfortable as a team. Like we didn't play week 1 with Piglet, and then weeks 2, 3, or 4 we played with Piglet. Then we played with Keith for the next 2 weeks, and then after that we're playing with Piglet. So we didn't have that much time together. So it was hard to play like when you're already not that comfortable as teammates with so much pressure on you. But I think that now we're just getting better week by week. I mean, I think last week was a pretty big step up for us because we actually were able to like win some games for once, which was nice. And then we ended up like 3-0ing this week. So I think we're just getting stronger and stronger at this point.
I mean, now you face Cloud9. Are you going to be strong enough to face them?
I hope so. I mean, historically, it's gone bad for us in the past versus Cloud9. They've played pretty well, but I think if we play at the level we did today, I think we have like a good chance. I mean, Cloud9's always a super strong team at the end. Like they're always a contender for the best team in North America. So I'm not gonna say that we're definitely gonna win, but I think that this is probably the best chance we've had.
Now, we were kind of talking a little bit before this where there's this kind of weird dichotomy where tomorrow we'll see Tip and Gravity play. Whoever comes out of that will be like, man, they look so good. But we were kind of commenting that it seems like there's even more on the line for CLG and Team Liquid. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I definitely feel that way. I mean, I think it really comes down to CLG and us had the higher expectations to split. Like, people didn't really know how Tip would perform. And then Gravity had, like, they just made it through expansion. So people thought, like, anything above relegation for them is good. And for us, like, since we're both teams that our fans expect us to be, like, top 3, it feels like whoever loses in quarterfinals is just going to get shit on by the community. So, I mean, I haven't checked Reddit or anything today, but I'm assuming that it's just going to be like a bunch of negativity around our game. And like whoever wins tomorrow, it's just going to be like, oh, they're so great. Like Russia's so good or Saint's so good. Like they just have a lot more like positive outcome from their game instead of us. Like, I don't think as many people are going to be happy for us as like mad at CLG, if that makes any sense.
And you think that's just because like the expectations and you guys both failing to meet your expectations, or is it? I mean, both you guys also have like Tip and Gravity maybe don't have as many fans or maybe as many like anti-fans or anything like that because they're kind of newer teams. Do you think there's an element of that as well?
Yeah, I haven't necessarily thought about that, but that makes like a decent amount of sense that we have like more diehard fans. So there's more people that are like legitimately pissed off when we lose than when like Tip loses. It's like, oh, well, like, I just started liking them this split. So, you know, they have like, a lot more promise. Like, for us and for CLG, it's, like, now or never. It's, like, now or you're just, like, garbage for the rest of your life. That's how, like, the fans view it. So, I mean, I think it's, like, it's just kind of, like, I normally don't feel bad when I win games. But today I kind of felt, like, bad because I was, like, damn, like, people are going to be so unnecessarily mean to CLG after this.
I mean, there was kind of a bit of a, or at least the broadcast guys were trying to sort of hype up this, like, Piglet double lift rivalry and like, oh, it all comes down to this or something. Was that, in your mind, was that something that was kind of real? Like this is Piglet's chance to prove himself, or do you think that that's kind of something that's just a little bit more fun for the community to watch?
I mean, I think that like Piglet doesn't have like anything against the lift. Like he just likes like the way they do it in OGN is they kind of just create like drama, create hype, right? And like he doesn't have any ill intentions, but I think it actually like helped him a little bit in game. Like I could tell he was like pretty hyped in game. Like there was a couple times where he was like getting ready to like kill double lift. He was like, come here, double lift boy, like stuff like that. And I was like, Piglet, no, you can't say that. He just like runs across the map and kills. And I was like, damn. I think it makes Piglet play better, honestly. Yeah.
I mean, he's always been. I remember when he was in Korea, like he was kind of a showboater or whatever. Like really rode the hype behind him and that kind of thing. So do you think that? Because for me, I kind of believe that whenever he's having this success, like maybe it starts to multiply a lot, right? Where he's like, yeah, I am the best, and he can like, I'll show double lift I'm the best. Do you think that that'll maybe flow into further games, maybe the Cloud9 match and stuff?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think he showed up pretty big in this series. I mean, I think across the board we all played better in our respective roles, which is why the games were so convincing. Like if they had a game where maybe somebody outplayed super hard or somebody carried, it probably wouldn't have been a 3-0. But I think that across the board, like we were just able to come together as a team and win the team fights that mattered.
So lots of good news and really good vibes for you guys. But I do have to ask you a little bit about a lot of the community reaction around your role on a lot of the reaction around Rebirth, the show that's come out, and this kind of thing. Because there's a lot of people that are like, Dom is just like toxic. There were people saying that you were like throwing games even to because you don't like Piglet. So, I mean, what are your thoughts like whenever? First off, I don't know how much of this gets back to you, but it all gets back to you. Okay, yeah. And so, I mean, what happens when you see the stuff and you have like a response, or like, is there any element of like, oh yeah, Piglet and I don't really get along? Like, what's the deal?
Like honestly, it kind of sucks to hear, but I guess the only thing that was surprising for me was how quick it changed. Because like week 6, like if you go after week 6 and you read like Reddit threads after we beat CLG and TSM, we're on this 3-game win streak, and I like carried a couple of those games. It's like so positive. It's like, oh my god, like Dom's maybe the best jungler in North America. And then like you read the next week, it's like they should fucking bench him. Like if you can't bench him, just kill him. Like it's like Jesus, like you guys hate me quick. But I mean, I think it's just like, when you're the most vocal player on the team, like I'm probably the most like vocal in game, and then even like out of game, like in public, I'm probably the most vocal about like what's happening with our team, and I'm pretty honest about what's happening. Like, I don't like just like lie. Yeah, I don't like sugarcoating, or just like to me, it just like doesn't feel truthful. If I'm just like, oh yeah, shit's going great right now, and then like shit's actually terrible. So I'm pretty honest about like how the team's going, or how things within the team are going. So I mean, it sucks to like hear, but I think it just comes with like, I mean, like for example, Voy was the most vocal person on the team last year, and he had the most fans and stuff like that. And I don't have the most fans or anything, but since I'm like obviously Piglet can't speak like English super well, so even though he does like speak English better now than before, like most of it's gonna come back to me. If we're winning, then people were like hyping me up like week 5, week 6, and then week 7, week 8 we lost, and people are gonna come back and lash out at me. And like I guess the only thing that like it was a little bit surprising how fast it changed, and it was surprising. It was surprising that people thought I was playing so bad, because when I was rewatching the games, like I would talk to my coaches, my analysts, my teammates, and stuff like that, and people thought I was playing like fine within the team, and like even my friends in LCS, like I talked to them, like I'll like ask questions, I'll be like hey, like Santorin's my friend, like Medius, I'm like, look at this situation, like you think I play this bad? Do you think I play this good? Like just trying to like get better and like learn, and like people within the scene didn't think I was playing poorly, but outside the scene it was like, damn, you're fucking terrible. So I was surprised that like people, I guess, don't really understand what's going on in games. Like for example, the tip game when we got they stole like half of our jungle. So like level 1 he got 8 camps, I got 4 camps, and it's like, damn, I had a massive disadvantage, and he snowballed it on me. Like Rush like won, and Rush is like a super good player, and like instead of it being like, damn, that was like a smart level 1, it was like, damn, Dom just got like fucked. And it's like, yeah, I mean that's what happens. Like, so I mean for me it's like I mean at least we're winning again now, so I guess I'll have a break this week. Like normally when you win, you don't have that many people like hating on you. I mean, of course there'll be like a couple comments, but it definitely won't be as overly negative this week as it was in the previous week. So I guess that's like good. And I mean, I guess it's just part of being like a pro player, and just like since I am like the captain of the team and I am like the most vocal person on the team, like you kind of like setting yourself up. If like shit goes bad, you're partly responsible. So
all that negativity will flow in the CLG direction, so you get a little bit of a reprieve.
It has to be like that, because honestly, like they played like a really good regular season, right? Like they had probably the second best regular season. I mean, they did lose the Cloud9 at the end, but like if you looked at like consistency throughout the season, like all their losses really came at the end, and like throughout the majority of the season, they were playing like a strong team, and like the way that people are gonna remember this season is they just like suck, which isn't true. They were like a really good team, and we came out stronger right now, but we don't suck either. Like it's not like they lost to like a shit team. Like we had bad points in our regular season, but right now we're pretty strong. So like, yeah, I mean, obviously you can't change it at all, but I like wish it was like a little bit more positive for them. Like I don't envy them at all. Like going home, they're just gonna like see shit on their Twitter, and it's just gonna make them feel bad, but it just sucks.
Kind of going back to some of the community feedback, there was a couple conversations, one of them from the most recent one where they're like, hey, I don't know about Dom's shot calling. Like he's not confident in the shot calling, or people sort of say that whenever there's poor shot calling, it's all on you, or that there's poor shot calling in the first place. So where do you think like the truth is in all of that?
Well, I don't think I'm like the best shot caller. I've never claimed to be the best shot caller, but I think that I'm a pretty good shot caller. And the way shot calling works is it's pretty much divided like evenly between me and Nick Special. Maybe I do like a little bit more in the early game, but like throughout the main part of the game, it's me and Nick Special like just bouncing ideas off each other. So we don't have like most of like the conversations that we're having in game. We're just like trying to figure out what the right thing to do is, and like once we figure that out, like between both of us, then we'll act on it. And like if you look at the CLG games, they'll be like, wow, their shot calling is really good because we were like turning effectively when we started Baron. We were like making plays and we were forcing the enemy to do bad things. But it's just like when you're losing, like no one's gonna go out and be like, you know what, Impaler is a great shot caller, right? Now, like no one's gonna like say that like someone on a losing team is like a good shot caller. So it's like early in the season we were winning games and we had no shot calling problems, and then I don't even think that it was like really a shot calling problem in games, even though that's what it seems like. I think it was a strategy problem. Like once we ironed out how we strategically were supposed to play the game, then it's fine. Like our shot calling's on par or better than CLG's from these games. But yeah, just people just like, obviously if a team's losing and they put in clips that like aren't, they're not putting in like the clips that like where we're deciding what to do. Like they're not giving away our strategy. Like Damien's not an idiot. He's not going to be like, oh, well, like this is everything. This is how they play 2v1s like every game. Like let me just like see this shot calling. Like they're going to put in like snippets that kind of portray like the points where we're losing, the points of unsurety, the points that cost us the game, because that's what's important to the video. It's like, why did they lose? Well, it's this point. So I mean, I once again, like I would go to people that matter to me. Like obviously the community matters, but what matters more is what the coach thinks of my shot calling, analyst, and my teammates, right? Those are the people that actually matter. And like owner, even like Steve, like all those people like matter to me. So like I look to them for like, are there problems with my shot calling? And they're like, no, you're shot calling fine. Like, and they gave me confidence going into this game that our shot calling is fine. So when you play games like this and you win, it just like kind of like validates you a little bit, because I mean, obviously we don't have major shot calling problems from these games. So just because we lost in previous weeks doesn't necessarily mean that we have like problems where the problem, like the, or how do I say this? Like where people think the problems aren't necessarily what the problems are. Because even if you have great shot calling, right? If people aren't listening to the shot calls, then it's gonna look bad. It's gonna look disorganized. So it's just kind of like it's all that people can see, so they don't have everything to judge it off of. They can't hear everything I say in game. They can't hear everything we do in practice, and like they can't hear our coach talk and tell us what we should be doing strategically, and then it's our job to execute on that. So, I mean, I can understand why they said it. Like when I like heard the clips, I was like, oh, like that sounds bad, but I know that it wasn't. It's not been like, yeah, it's not representative of what it actually is. So I don't know. I'm fine with it. Like, honestly, I think that this is like a good. It's a good like, because obviously it gets to you, right? When the community just like shits on you all the time, like you can have tough skin. Like I think I have relatively tough skin as far as like pro players go, but like every now and then you're like, damn, maybe I suck. Like that's like that'll like always cross your mind, and like this kind of like tells us like, no, we don't suck. Like at worst right now we're a top 4 team in NA out of 10 teams in the LCS. So I think we can prove ourselves like in this playoffs. If we get a first or second spot, I think that's a big step up for us, and I think that'll like show that we're a strong team going into next split.
The last kind of question I have along those lines, less about the community and more just kind of out of my own curiosity. There's a scene in this week's episode, which I think probably it's a scene maybe from 2 or 3 weeks because of the way it's edited and released, but where you're kind of talking, like Mark, the analyst, is talking a lot about how you kind of had all these friends and then sort of they got replaced over time, and as kind of follows up with a scene where you're talking about how, yeah, we're like cool with each other now, but like we probably won't talk at all after this, and it kind of paints this image of there not being really good cohesion. Like you're kind of talking about how, like, oh, Royal Club, like you don't necessarily need like a good atmosphere, right? Those statements that you made kind of along the lines of like friendship is not maybe the core of the team. Has your attitude changed at all in the past couple of weeks since then? Do you think like as the team has gotten closer and you guys have started winning more, like the atmosphere has improved and maybe like you guys are getting closer? Or do you think that that's just kind of like always going to be the state of this team while you have this roster?
Well, I don't think we'll be ever as close as like the old team, just because like we obviously have people from a bunch of different cultures. I mean, that was like why like when Mark was talking about that, he's like, oh, like Quasit wasn't as involved in like the like jokes and just like the culture as like Cobb, me, Bunny, and Void, because we're all just like American. We're all born here with similar life experiences. So when like no, even though we're really friendly with like Piglet and Phoenix, and we like talk to them all the time, we like make jokes that we can all understand. Just like we have like stupid things that we say that everyone just laughs at. We're never gonna be as close as like people that can communicate like everything. Like this is like how I view like every situation. Like we still have to like they still like Phoenix and Piglet still have to convey what they think through like the limited amount of English that they speak, which it's better than before. Like they know a lot. Like they can understand more than they can speak, but it's still like you won't ever get to know somebody as well as when you can communicate everything. So like I said, like people took it out of context because there was part of it that was edited out. Like we don't have a bad environment. We have like a pretty good environment, but it's just not like before. It was like we were just like best friends almost, and it's just not as close as that. But it's still fine. Like it's not bad like Starhawk and World Club, but it's not like super like broy. And like who knows, maybe people do talk after this, but it feels like it's just a more professional environment, which is really like the sentiment that I wanted to convey, was that our practice is more serious. Everything's more serious. Like we wake up, shower, take a shuttle, go to work, like get food. I mean, you saw us at the office like the other day. Like we're just it's like a work environment more than like a friend environment. Like we don't practice at home. We don't like, and I think that like there's a lot of good that comes out of that. Like no one wakes up right before scrims. Like everyone has at least been up for like an hour and a half before scrims start, and we've all like eaten and like we had to like start our day and stuff like that. Like get coffee, like all that stuff. So, I mean, I think that there's good that comes out of it, but just like relationship-wise, we're not going to be as close as before.
That's very good insight. Like, I think it's always nice to follow up with you after like a episode or something like that comes out, or somebody from the team, because as you said, like not everyone gets to see everything. So lots of questions that good to get answered. Is there anything that you'd like to say here at the end, Dom, about, I mean, you have a bunch of fans that are hopefully happy for you, maybe more angry at CLG, but to any of them?
Yeah, definitely thanks to all the fans that have supported us. Like, I don't think you guys know how much it means when you're getting like shit on by everyone to just have like a couple people say like nice things, like how like somebody like sees that like we're not terrible people, or we're not terrible at the game. Like that stuff is actually really nice. So I like to say to like all people like out there that are fans of teams, like when a team loses, like for example CLG right now, like you should give them support. Like you should like help like pump them up, because I think that's like a good job of a fan. Like it shouldn't all be negativity. Like there should be like, hey, like you know what, like you guys, like CLG played like an awesome season. Like you guys like weren't able to accomplish your goals this split, but like you've proven a lot. You've proven that you guys are strong. So going into next split, like you guys can prove yourself once again. You'll have that opportunity. Like that stuff is really good for players, I'd say. So yeah, if there's like any fans out there, there's CLG fans that are watching this, like go help out CLG, man. Like say something nice to them on Twitter. I'm sure it'll mean a lot to those guys.
Thank you so much for the interview, Dom. Always very insightful, and congratulations and good luck against Cloud9 next week. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of our coverage of all things LCS at ongamers.com.